Part one was about the money, what the Southeast generates, what it collects, and whether it can survive with that federal account. If you have not watched that, go back and watch it first. So I'm going deeper now. Do all Igbo people actually want to leave Nigeria? What are their leaders saying? And what is happening inside IPOB right now? Because the story had changed completely and most people have not caught up. Let us start with the movement that has defined the conversation for years, IPOB. The indigenous people of Biafra was founded in 2014 by Nnamdi Kanu. For over a decade, it had been the loudest voice for Igbo succession, using Radio Biafra, social media, and mass mobilization to push for an independent Biafra state. But in November 2025, something changed everything. On the 20th of November 2025, Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court in Abuja sentenced Nnamdi Kanu to life imprisonment after convicting him on 7 charges, including terrorism, treason, and involvement with an outlawed movement. Prosecutors had sought the death penalty. The judge chose life imprisonment instead, citing international opposition to capital punishment. The judge's words were direct. He said the right to self-determination is a political fight, but any self-determination not done according to the Constitution of Nigeria is illegal. Kanu has appealed, but he is currently serving a life sentence. And from inside prison, the crisis inside IPOB was about to explode. On the 7th of June 2026, Kanu dissolved the third administration of IPOB's Directorate of State, which had been headed by Chike Edozien since 2017. He appointed a fourth administration under a United States-based man named Chris Nwaogu, and he dissolved leadership. Now the dissolved leadership hits back. They held a meeting and announced the indefinite suspension of Nnamdi Kanu as IPOB leader. They removed him as director of Radio 9 Biafra. Their reason, they alleged that intelligence reports showed Kanu had been holding meetings with DSS and Nigerian Intelligence Agency officials while in detention, and that communication linked to him had led to the arrest and harm of IPOB members. Kanu responded 4 days later, on the 21st of June 2026, from prison, announcing the indefinite expulsion of Chike Edozien and 900 other members of the dissolved leadership. He accused them of abandoning him in detention, undermining his legal battle, sabotaging efforts to raise funds for his medical treatment, and attempting to hijack the organization for personal political gain. Kanu directed all loyal IPOB members worldwide to recognize and support the new fourth administration under Chris Nwaogu, declaring that the movement remained united under his leadership. So as of today, IPOB has 2 factions. One backing Kanu and his newly appointed fourth directorate. One backing the suspended and expelled Edozien-led former leadership, both claiming to be the real IPOB. Ohanaeze Ndigbo, the apex Igbo socio-cultural organization, weighed in and affirmed continued recognition of Nnamdi Kanu as IPOB leader, dismissing the suspension by the Edozien faction as invalid. This is not a small crack. This is a movement publicly at war with itself, while its leader served life imprisonment and his appeal moved through the courts. Now let us ask this question. Honestly, do all Igbos want to leave Nigeria? The answer is no. And the evidence is clear on this. Survey data consistently show the support for secession is strongest among Igbo living outside the southeast, particularly younger people who have grown up experiencing the sit-at-home order, the security deterioration, and the infrastructure neglect, and the perception of federal abandonment. But Igbos living outside the southeast, in Lagos, in Kano, in Abuja, in Port Harcourt, express significantly lower support for secession. Reason researchers give is straightforward. An Igbo trader who owns warehouse in Kano has outside business partners, employs people from multi-ethnic group, and has built a life across Nigerian commercial network. That person is not voting with their feet for a new country. They have too much at stake in the one that exists. And the Igbos in diaspora abroad, of course, is equally divided. Some are IPOB's supporters, others are professionals and entrepreneurs who believe the future of the Igbo is inside a reformed Nigeria, not outside it. Now, let us talk about what the former leader are saying. The Southeast governors, all 5 of them, have publicly and consistently opposed IPOB's agenda. After IPOB's activity escalated, the Southeast Governor Forum held an emergency meeting and banned IPOB within their states. Not one of them has endorsed the secession as a solution. Their position is that the grievances are real and serious, but their answer is political reform inside Nigeria, not separate from it. Ohanaeze Ndigbo takes a more layered position. They acknowledge the grievances are legitimate and serious. They have condemned the federal government's handling of the IPOB situation. They call for a dialogue. They call for Nnamdi Kanu's release before his conviction. And in May 2025, Ohanaeze delivered a direct message to President Tinubu: engage with agitators, address the structural injustice, and treat the Southeast as a genuine partner in this federation, or lose the Southeast in 2027. That is not a succession call. That is a political ultimatum for inclusion. And what IPOB itself was asking for before the internal collapse, even in its most confrontational moment, was not always pure. Researchers studying the movement noted that many IPOB supporters used the Biafra demand as a bargaining chip, a way to force the federal government to the table. That Kanu himself, in moment of negotiation, signal openness to dialogue if certain conditions were met. The sit-at-home compliance in the Southeast was driven partly by genuine belief in the cause and partly by fear of the IPOB enforcement. Now, here is something that both sides of the argument must reckon with. The sit-at-home order with IPOB enforced in the Southeast every Monday and on key dates have caused catastrophic economic damage to the very people the movement claimed to be fighting for. Analysts estimate that between 2021 and 2025, the Southeast economy lost approximately 7.6 trillion naira because of this shutdown. Markets closed, schools empty, businesses locked, transport stopped. The people who paid the price most severely were not federal government officials in Abuja. They were Igbo traders, Igbo students, Igbo farmers, Igbo business owners in the Southeast. That is not a government talking point. That is a documented economy reality that internal Igbo critics, including prominent voices within the community, have raised publicly. Now, the question beneath all of this will succession work. The Southeast has oil in Imo and Abia, the largest natural gas reserve in Nigeria in Anambra, coal in Enugu, solid minerals in Ebonyi, the most commercially driven population in West Africa. Remittances from one of Africa's most educated diaspora community, a demonstrated ability in at least 3 or 5 states to generate real revenue without oil. The case against the Southeast is landlocked from the coast. It has no deep seaport. The oil wells in Imo and Abia sit within and adjacent to minority ethnic communities, Ijaw, Ibibio, Efik, Urhobo, who have explicitly said they do not wish to leave Nigeria. A Biafran state will immediately face territorial disputes over who controls those oil fields. International law does not recognize a right to unilateral succession without a referendum. No foreign government has indicated it will recognize a breakaway Southeast state. And the millions of Igbo people living across Nigeria would face immediate question about their property, their businesses, and legal status. The more honest question, the one Ohanaeze, the governors, and the serious analysts inside the Igbo community are increasingly having is not succession or silence. It is this: more local government areas, equitable federal appointment, infrastructure investment that matches what the Southeast contributes, recognition that a zone generating close to 300 billion naira in IGR and driving commerce in every state of federation deserves to be treated as a full partner. And the federal government willing to sit at the table and negotiate structural reforms seriously, not dismiss every Igbo grievances as separatist agitation. Those are the real questions, and they are questions that 2027 will force this country to answer. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think the Igbo people are better off fighting for change inside Nigeria, or do you believe the structural imbalance are too deep to fix? And for our Igbo audience, those of you that are Igbos listening to me, where do you stand? Drop your answer in the comments. Share this video to every Nigerian, so every Nigerian can hear all sides of this conversation. And get your permanent voters card, because the ballot is where this really gets decided. I am Patience Smith. Follow me on my YouTube channel and please talk to me. Let me hear from you.